A massive fire that claimed more than 100 lives has pushed all of Hong Kong into grief and rage. Thousands of families are shattered, tens of thousands displaced, officials arrived late, yet Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chew's first reaction was to thank Xi Jinping 3 times. This ignited public fury, with netizens saying bluntly, this wasn't a natural disaster, it was a man-made catastrophe. Just as public anger was boiling over, the skies over Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and Hong Kong all turned blood red at the same time, like a doomsday canopy. The internet exploded, heaven is sending a warning. A feng shui master had already predicted in April that there will definitely be a big fire in November. Now that this has come true with eerie precision, speculation about the prophecy of a coming Hong Kong Christmas uprising has heated up again. On top of that, British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker's prophecy about 2026 has brought a sliver of hope into the gloomy atmosphere. He says that in 2026, a tall figure in the east will stand up from the shadows and ignite the flame of a new era. Who will this tall figure from the east be? Will the Hong Kong fire become the last straw that breaks the public's back? Is the apocalyptic sky a coincidence or a celestial omen? Will Christmas bring another large-scale awakening of the people? On the afternoon of November 28, Hong Kong's Secretary for Security Chris Tang told a press conference that the firefighting operation was complete. The chain reaction blaze at the Hong Fuk Court estate in Taipei had already taken 128 lives and injured 79 people, while around 200 people were still missing, meaning the casualty numbers were still climbing. The relief fund launched by the Hong Kong authorities for the Hong Fuk Court disaster, together with donations from all sectors, will provide a condolence payment of 200,000 Hong Kong dollars to the family of each victim and an additional 50,000 Hong Kong dollars living allowance to each household. This fire is the most serious in Hong Kong's history and is regarded as one of the most horrifying fires in the contemporary world. On television, 7 towers were engulfed in flames at the same time, fire shooting into the sky and thick smoke blotting out the sun, like the end of days. Was it the bamboo scaffolding or the safety netting? One of the controversies surrounding the Hong Kong fire is whether the rapid spread of the blaze was caused by bamboo scaffolding or by non-flame retardant netting. Before the disaster, Hong Kong officials claimed that the fire prevention materials met regulations and the risk was low. After the incident, Hong Kong police admitted that the protective nets on the exterior walls, waterproof tarps, and plastic sheets did not meet fire safety standards. Where did these materials come from? From 2 companies in Shandong, mainland China, one responsible for production, the other for certification. Both were faking it. Nets that were supposed to stop flames turned into fuel instead. How many dirty deals of collusion between officials and businessmen are hidden in this? Several Hong Kong newspapers have already published editorials on accountability. The Hong Kong Economic Journal stated bluntly that this tragedy was not a natural disaster and is indisputably a man-made calamity. Based on revelations so far, it is basically certain that this was a human-caused catastrophe, a tragedy jointly staged by dark forces in society and incompetent officials. Hong Kong is now one of the very few places in the world that still widely uses bamboo scaffolding. The Hong Kong government at one point tried to shift the blame onto the bamboo scaffolding to evade responsibility, provoking widespread skepticism among the public. Many in society argue that bamboo scaffolding is part of Hong Kong's culture and has almost become a unique symbol of the city. It has a long history and particular advantages. People believe bamboo conducts heat more slowly than metal. The craft of erecting bamboo scaffolding is seen as a traditional skill worthy of protection. Now mainland social media platforms have started censoring videos posted by Hong Kong netizens explaining that bamboo doesn't burn easily, while pushing the narrative that Hong Kong is backward and Hong Kong should learn from the mainland, and so on. Dear viewers, what do you think actually triggered this fire, Hong Kong's bamboo scaffolding, or the mainland-made safety nets? John Lee thanking Xi first, could it trigger a revolution? Facing this massive fire that shocked the world, Hong Kong Chief Executive John Lee only showed up 5 hours after the incident, appearing with a group of officials to brief the media, saying nothing more than vague official clichés. He called it a disaster, but will he take the initiative to assume responsibility and resign? Of course not. When it came to the key question everyone cares about, whether this fire was fundamentally man-made, Lee dodged it. Once he appeared, John Lee's first priority was to thank Xi Jinping for his concern. Once wasn't enough, he had to emphasize it again and again. He also did not forget to thank the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office and the Liaison Office, going down the list. Yet he could not bring himself to say even half a sentence of thanks to those truly on the front lines, the firefighters who risked their lives to battle the blaze for hours, the citizens who voluntarily sent supplies, and institutions like the Jockey Club and major corporations that quickly donated huge sums to help the victims. This kind of behavior, only looking up, never looking down, stands in stark contrast to the political slogans the Hong Kong government has been chanting in recent years. The Hong Kong authorities constantly talk about from chaos to governance, from governance to prosperity, a formulation first raised by Xi Jinping at the 20th Party Congress in 2022. The idea is to fully and faithfully implement one country, two systems, leading Hong Kong from restoring order to moving toward prosperity. John Lee has said that 2023 marks the first year of Hong Kong's transition from governance to prosperity. But this fire, which destroyed the homes of thousands of residents and tore countless families apart, has made that so-called prosperity vanish without a trace. Instead, it made John Lee famous for incompetence, famous for disaster. Prosperity is still far away, ruin is already close at hand. In recent years, many of the Hong Kong government's initiatives, promoting the Greater Bay Area, developing the northern metropolis, building a mega-events economy, cooperating with Beijing's Taiwan-related propaganda, have all centered on one core purpose: fulfilling Beijing's political assignments. Meanwhile, issues that genuinely affect daily life, food, clothing, housing, transport, and safety, seem to have been pushed to the margins. At the same time, the government has used every tool at its disposal to suppress civil democratic forces, tightening thought control and comprehensively clamping down on Hong Kong. For John Lee, power does not come from Hong Kong people, but directly from Xi Jinping. His primary mission is not to govern Hong Kong, but to please Beijing. Unsurprisingly, netizens have cursed him roundly. John Lee wasn't elected, he's a governor sent by Beijing. The national security law gagged us, Article 23 cuts our throats, now a single fire is taking our lives. Years of hidden dangers ignored, fake fireproof nets, alarm bells that don't ring, elderly burned alive, this is all man-made. John Lee, you didn't just burn down Hong Fuck Court, you burned down Hong Kong's coffin lid. If John Lee doesn't resign, heaven itself won't tolerate it. Chen Shimin, associate professor of political science at National Taiwan University, told Taiwan's FTV that the people of Hong Kong may vent their anger through the Legislative Council elections, or even trigger a movement similar to the 2022 White Paper protests. Exiled Chinese democracy activist Chi Liqian wrote that this is a Hong Kong version of the Urumqi fire, saying, "This is the biggest persecution of Hong Kong people since the implementation of the national security law. Hong Kongers should fight back, resist tyranny, and rekindle the Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our time spirit. There is always hope for Hong Kong." After the blaze, the first to stand up were not officials, but ordinary citizens. According to media reports, within just a few hours, large numbers of Hong Kongers poured onto the streets and into their communities, spontaneously organizing donations and deliveries. Bottled water, biscuits, bread, clothing, bag after bag, box after box, were being sent to collection points and temporary shelters. Because the volume was so large, people formed human chains to unload supplies from vehicles and pass them into the disaster area, hoping to alleviate at least some of the victims' immediate hardship. In the chaos of information, some residents set up community resource coordination websites on their own, offering I am safe forms so people could report their status and reassure family and friends. At the same time, blood donation centers across the city saw long queues. One netizen summed it up beautifully: "It turns out the spirit of Hong Kong people has never changed." Seeing volunteers rushing to the disaster zone, citizens delivering supplies through the night, neighbors forming human chains, and ordinary people silently donating blood, you can't help but feel deeply: the world can get worse, people can lose their way, but the bottom line, kindness, and conscience of Hong Kongers have never been extinguished. As long as this humanity remains, as long as this mutual support is here, as long as Hong Kong people are still willing to stand up, there will always be hope for Hong Kong. Heaven is bleeding. Blood-red skies over 3 cities. The ancients said, heaven displays signs to reveal fortune and misfortune. After the fire in Hong Kong claimed over 100 lives, the very next day the skies over Hong Kong, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen were all covered with blood-red burning clouds, once again staging a real-life end-of-the-world scene. The sky the color of blood mirrored human suffering and rage. Was this a coincidence, or was heaven issuing a grave warning to mankind? Over Shenzhen, the sky turned an unusually saturated blood red and stayed that way for nearly an hour, far longer than an ordinary sunset glow. Guangzhou's sky was also covered in thick orange-red clouds, as if a giant ball of fire was hanging overhead. The skies above both sides of Victoria Harbour and over Kowloon in Hong Kong showed almost synchronized brilliant red clouds, forming a rare, blood-red canopy spanning all three places. Social media was instantly flooded with images of this blood-red sky, and the comment sections were full of shock and unease. This isn't a sunset, it's the sky on fire. The whole world looks like it has a doomsday filter. It's so red, like the sky before a nuclear blast in a movie. Yesterday we were crying over Hong Kong's fire, today the sky has turned to blood, it feels like even heaven is wailing. This is truly an ominous heavenly warning. This was a second celestial alarm on the heels of the Hong Kong fire. In fact, the fire itself had been prophetically warned. Hong Kong feng shui master Li Kuei-ming said back in April, nothing big in July, the real catastrophe comes after September. November will be the fiercest, with a major fire for sure. And indeed, on November 26, the fire struck with uncanny precision. Is a Hong Kong Christmas uprising coming? The Urumqi fire ignited the white paper movement. What will this Hong Kong fire ignite? On September 25, British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker said in a livestream, "I see Hong Kong rising again soon. This time there are no umbrellas, only Christmas lights being trampled underfoot, falling everywhere. The revolution will erupt during the Christmas season. There are now fewer than 30 days until Christmas. Will it be this Christmas, or some future Christmas?" In another livestream earlier this year, Parker asked, "Will Hong Kong be free again?" His impression was that one day China will split into multiple countries, including the liberation of Hong Kong and Tibet, in a way that restores democracy and freedom to some extent. Compared with today's anxiety, Parker's prophecy for the coming years actually offers a rare hint of dawn. He said, in 2026, in the East, a tall man who has been in the shadows will stand up with a torch that lights the next era. This tall figure will be a key person who changes the global landscape, helping a giant Eastern nation play a leading role in world affairs and guiding the world into a brand new era. Parker says that in 2026 the world's energetic field will undergo a dramatic shift. The core trend is, from extreme darkness to emerging light. When darkness reaches its peak, light will appear. Yin and Yang unite to give birth to the Taiji, and the tall figure from the East will lead the new era. Craig Hamilton Parker is one of Britain's most famous contemporary psychics and prophets, known as the Nostradamus of the New Age and the Prophet of Doom.